So let me catch you up to speed. I am going to read all the Twilight books, and this will not be spoiler free because they've been out for a long time. I've already read the first one. Sorry to break it to you. I decided on doing this after I already read the first one, so let me catch you up. Here we are. So here's what I thought about the first book. I gave it a 4 out of 5 stars. I really enjoyed how quick it was, how fast-paced it was, how easy the writing was to get through. I thought that most of it was pretty good. I already kind of had like a kind of baseline knowledge about the first book just because that's the only movie that I've seen more than once. The other ones I've only seen once, and I don't remember movies that well. So the rest of this journey will be fun because I don't know what's going to happen. Basically, happened. I'm like halfway through New Moon at this point. So I don't remember even how the first one ended up. The insta-love was crazy. The insta-love was literally insane. That was the part that I was like the most shocked by, honestly. It's just that like it was like they were just together. Like they were just in love and together forever. Like that's crazy. I understand that it's because of like Edward's like a little vampire magic or whatever. I understand that completely. Still think it's weird. Still think something is up there. I really don't have that many thoughts about the first book. I just enjoyed it, and I enjoyed it enough to read the other books, which I was not expecting to happen, and I didn't actually think that I was gonna like it that much. I was honestly a Twilight hater before that. So let me tell you what I think about New Moon. Okay, we're just jumping right into this. I don't waste time. I need to catch you up. I'm like halfway through New Moon at this point. I like New Moon better than I liked Twilight. I think that the writing is better, and I like how it's written better. I will say, if any man ever spoke to me the way that Edward and Jacob have spoken to Bella in this book, I would never speak to them ever again. I would never talk to them again. I do think that they are weird for that, and that's just me. I do like Jacob better than I liked Edward in the first book. I like Jacob in this book quite a bit. I think that he is, at this point, I don't really like him just because of how he's treated her through this whole like werewolf transformation, whatever. I don't like how he's talking to her. But what can I do about that? I do think Bella is kind of annoying. I think that she should get over Edward, but I understand why she can't because he's in love with him and like the vampire magic and whatever. I understand. But if a man ever did that to me, I would never speak to them again. What else? I really don't know what's going to happen the rest of this book. I do not remember. I really am curious to see how Edward comes into the picture again because I know that he will. I do like that she's taking all these risks and it's like a little bit toxic. I would love to see him save her life or something. I think that would be great. That's all I have to say. I'll update you soon. Okay, here's the update. Basically, Bella decided to throw herself off a cliff because she's being all risky and crazy and stuff. Jacob saved her, and then Alice had a vision that she thought that Bella actually was trying to kill herself. So then Alice ran over there, like got a flight back and like came back to Forks and like is talking to Bella and stuff. And then somehow Edward gets a hold of this information that Bella has literally killed herself, that Bella is dead. So then Edward starts freaking out, and so he goes to the Volturi and like asks them to kill him because he's like Romeo and Juliet, and like they were just talking about that at the beginning of the book, so it's like, you know, like the foreshadowing, like it's coming to fruition. Whatever. And I like the drama. I do like this drama. It's just reading very much like a fan fiction at this point. It's just like kind of crazy. Like the way that Bella and Alice just have jumped on a plane and are just like now in like Italy and like are stopping him or whatever. That's a little bit crazy. Like they got there just in time. Like all of that stuff. Of course that was gonna happen. I just I don't know. It just is feeling like a repeat of the last book where there was like this like big drama event and they had to go fly somewhere and stop it from happening, you know, like at the last moment. So that's where I'm at right now. Don't really like where it's going. I'm almost at the end. I'm probably like 100 pages from the end. Don't really like what's happening right now. But I guess we'll see. I'm looking a little bit crazy right now. Sorry about it. I just finished New Moon. And I have some thoughts. When I was talking about the fanfiction stuff, it really just got more intense, just got worse. I just think the whole thing is crazy. I just really do. The way that Edward left you for 8 months, and then as soon as he comes back, like, you're just immediately like willing to drop everything, willing to marry him, willing to turn into a vampire with him, like all of those things. Would not be me. Could not be me. It's just kind of crazy. It's just kind of crazy. Also, like, Jacob was such a good friend to you, and like, she still wants to be friends with him, but also, like, you have to understand that, like, he does not like your boyfriend. So that's probably never gonna happen again. Like, you guys are not gonna be friends. Which I'm looking forward to see how that all plays out, because the end of the book was just like kind of like everything resumed as normal. They were saving Edward because he was trying to kill himself, and then there was all this stuff with the Volturi. Did not care about that part. What else? They came back. Everything was normal. She's grounded. Charlie hates Edward, obviously, because you literally left her for 8 months and then you come back and everything's fine again, and you're expecting her dad to just like be okay with that and like be accepting of you. No, I would want to literally murder you, skin you alive. But anyways, I mean, yeah, that's basically it. And then she went to his family and was like, hey, who wants to vote to turn me into a vampire? And then they all voted on turning her into a vampire, and then they haven't done that yet because Edward was like, we have to get married first or whatever. Like, he was like, well, you marry me. She's 18 and you're over 100 years old. That's crazy. Oh, also, I think it should be noted that the way that Edward reacted to his family wanting to turn her was so icky. Giving anger issues, giving, you're kind of psycho. Which, like, I guess I understand because the topic is like very extreme and something that he's very much against. But also at the same time, bro, it is not that freaking serious. It's not that serious. If you really want to be with her and you want to be together forever, like you say that you do, just turn her into a vampire. Get it over with, and then you won't have to deal with any of this ever again. Yeah, and then it ended, and Jacob is mad. Charlie's mad. Overall, I think it's probably a 4-star. I don't remember what I gave the first book. I think I gave the first book a 4-star too. This one's also a 4-star. And yeah, it's time to read Eclipse. It's time to update about Eclipse. I'm like halfway through and a lot has happened. Basically, in this book, there is a young vampire kind of serial killer that lives in Seattle now, and so it's been in the papers and like everybody's freaking out about it. There is also Victoria, who was like a part of like the evil vampires that were after Bella last book. She's still after her, and for some reason they can't catch her. There's been conflict between the vampires and the werewolves because of Bella, basically. And the werewolves are mad because if the Cullens turn Bella into a vampire, then they're going to break the treaty, and then they're going to have a war. Yeah, I mean, basically the whole thing has just been Bella, like, whining about wanting to be a vampire, even though she doesn't actually want to right now. Like, she's actually kind of scared. Here are the parts that I highlighted so far that I thought were particularly, like, particularly crazy. One of the issues that I have with Bella is just, like, how quickly she forgives Edward for the whole thing, for the whole, like, running away thing. I don't know about you, but that would kind of give me an indication. Like, I know it's because, like, he, like, loved her so much that he felt like he couldn't be around her because he didn't want the vampires to be around her or whatever. But come on. Every conversation she has with Jacob, I feel like something happens. Her and Jacob have been not talking and been really dramatic about this whole thing. I don't know, she'll be calling Jacob and he just won't answer, and then he'll be calling her and then she just won't answer and call him back. Like, it's just like, okay guys, okay. Yeah, honestly, this whole book, Bella's been kind of a crybaby. She's been kind of a crybaby, kind of dramatic. Like, she's always been dramatic. But, like, I just feel like she keeps getting herself into these, like, situations where, like, they just will make her angry, and then she'll just be stomping around like a child. You're talking about Edward and Jacob handling things like adults. Like, what about you? Like, why are we acting like this at our grown age apparently, because you think that as you're getting older, like, you're getting farther away from them and you think that you're so grown up. Like, why are we acting like this? There's this whole thing where, like, she was trying to go see Jacob and Edward was mad about it, so then he kept, like, having Alice go and basically, like, kidnap her and, like, take her for, like, a sleepover, and so that she wouldn't ever be out of her sights, which I thought was kind of weird. The other thing that I think is really weird about this book, and I already knew that this was going to happen, I didn't know that this specific thing was going to happen, but I knew that the imprinting thing is something that happens in these books, and I do have an issue with that, but I didn't know that this was happening. Jacob's friend, Quill, imprints on a 2-year-old in this book, and you know, I kind of have some issues with that. Jacob is justifying it as, like, it's like this, like, overwhelming, like, love and wanting to protect somebody and stuff, and, like, okay, but also she's 2 years old, and also, like, he's talking about how he'll just be the big brother type, and then, like, it'll become like a friendship, and then it'll become like the lovers or whatever. That's grooming. That's literally grooming. I think that this is a weird thing that Stephanie Myers wrote into these books. I think that it is not necessary. And yeah, I think that's gross. And I will think that it's gross in Breaking Dawn also. I think that this is a weird concept, and I don't understand why we have to involve children. Are we clear? Like, can we not just make them imprint on adults? Like, why does it have to be a literal 2-year-old? Weird behavior. I do think there is this part in chapter 12 where Bella and Edward are talking, I don't even know about what, but then Edward starts going into his past. He just is being more romantic, and I just thought that that was very nice to see, because I feel like a lot of times he just is, like, possessive. Like, I don't know if it's just me, but I'm not really buying it. I'm not buying their love. The thing is that, like, because they're saying all the time, like, how in love they are with each other and how much they want to be with each other and how much they want to be with each other forever, like, and they're not, like, actually showing the different things that they would do for each other to make sure that they know that they love each other. Like, they're just saying it. And for me, that's not, I'm not buying it. I don't get it. I don't know. I have been reading a lot of romance books lately, so maybe I'm more used to, like, that. But this just feels like, which is what it is, so I guess I shouldn't complain about it. It just feels very vampire victim. It's exactly what this is. But I just don't love it. But this was a cute moment where he was talking about how in the past, like, he was more of a soldier, and, like, he was looking like he would have settled down with somebody, like, when he was a human, but he just never found anybody. He said, I was gonna say if I had found someone, but that won't do. If I had found you, there isn't a doubt in my mind how I would have proceeded. I was that boy who would have, as soon as I discovered that you were what I was looking for, gotten down on one knee and endeavored to secure your hand, which I just think is very sweet. Then finally, this is where I'm leaving off. I'm like halfway through the book. So I left off reading yesterday where Jacob admitted his love to Bella and was like, hey, if I never say this to you, like, I'm gonna regret it, but I'm very in love with you, and like, that's just it. And I don't know what she's gonna say. I don't know what's coming next. I'm not surprised that this happened, honestly. I really think that you have a chance. Like, she is obviously obsessed with this freaking vampire man. I think you should, like, chill, because I don't think you really have any chance of this working out for you, and you should get over it. It probably also has ties back to him imprinting on her literal unborn child. I understand that that's the connection here. However, I liked the first book. I liked the second book. This book, I like it, but at the same time, I think that it's going a really weird direction. And I'm not as convinced about the relationships. And I also don't understand why all these other vampires have such an obsession with Bella. Like, I understand that she smells good, okay, but I thought that was just for Edward. So I don't understand why they're all coming after her and trying to attack her all the time. Like, chill out, guys. Everyone's just always stressed about Bella getting eaten constantly, and I just think that that's crazy. So, anyways, we'll see. I'm once again coming to you from my car. I finished Eclipse yesterday, and I have many thoughts, most of them negative. So we're gonna start off with a bang. After Jacob professed his love to Bella and said that he was in love with her, just outright said it, he then kissed her forcibly, and she didn't like it. She did not want it. Basically, he assaulted her, and then she punched him in the face and broke her hand. Let's just start there, okay? I'm gonna have a lot of thoughts about this topic because, unfortunately, this is not the first time that this is not the first and only time that he does this in this book, and frankly, I really hate it. After that, Jacob apologizes for kissing Bella, but I don't really think that he understands what he did in this situation. I don't think that he understands what he's apologizing for. Like he's apologizing for kissing her, but also she didn't want you to kiss her. And that's weird. That's weird that you did that. And he continued, like, it wasn't just like a little peck. It was like a full, like, trying to make out with her, and she was not having it the whole time. Like, nothing about this book felt natural to me. Nothing about it felt like it was all happening as it should, and like it was well done. Everything about it felt forced and like just weird. Bella wants to sleep with Edward before she turns into a vampire because she's afraid that she's gonna be different for some reason, and she wants to have this human experience. Basically, Stephanie Meyer has to turn this into a don't have sex before marriage conversation because she's Mormon. So she makes it into a thing about saving Edward's soul and saving Bella's soul so that they aren't damned if they have sex before marriage. After this, Edward convinces Bella to marry him, which he had been asking her that, and she was kind of like, eh. But she's decided that now she does want to marry him. So they were talking about it, and then for some reason, I was expecting something better than this. Like, I wanted them to go somewhere or him to do it a different time. But no, after they talk about it, he gets down on one knee in his bedroom and proposes to her. And it was lame. So next, they are removing Bella from the situation from the battle with the vampires. So they need to take her up a mountain. And the only way to do this, to hide her scent, is when Jacob carries her up the mountain, because his werewolf scent like overpowers her delicious human blood scent. So he runs her up the mountain. They're having this conversation because it hasn't been very long since he kissed her and assaulted her. So they're having the conversation about that while he's carrying her and like literally like holding her like this close to him, so she can't get away from him. He's still trying to convince her to be with him. He really wants her. He really wants her. And she's told him every time that she's not interested and she wants Edward. There's been like this much, like little tiny bit of like romantic feelings that has like been shown between them, but not enough to convince me that either A, Bella wants him back and is just hiding it, which is what this book is going to try to tell me that she's doing, and what happens in the future, and B, that Jacob is good for her in any way, because he's literally a freaking freak. He's literally a freak. I am Jacob Black's #1 hater. After this book, I am his #1 hater. I don't understand the Team Werewolf stuff anymore. I did understand it at the beginning, but after reading this and seeing what his behavior is like in this book, I don't get it. I don't get it. It's not romantic. It's actually him being a weirdo and not taking no for an answer. She tells him that it was assault. She tells him that the kiss was assault. And he says that he apologized for it. And then she says that I mostly forgave him for it, but it doesn't change the way that I remember it. Which, you shouldn't have to forgive him for it also. If he apologized, your forgiveness is not guaranteed. And then Jacob, after that, continues to try to convince her that he's the right person for her. After she tells him that him kissing her is assault. It gives me such icky feelings. Then after that, after he's trying to convince her of this, he says, "Do you ever get tired of lying to yourself? You have to know how aware you are of me, physically, I mean." And he's trying to imply that she's in love with him, but she's not recognizing it. This is not the grossest part yet. We're not even there yet. I don't know if everybody's going to think this is as weird as me, because obviously these books are very popular and people still like Jacob's. I don't like this. I understand that it's trying to be a love triangle, but this is not what a love triangle means. And it feels very forced and very weird. Yeah, then he says, "When are you finally going to figure out that you're in love with me?" So then, they are hiding her up on this mountain during this battle, and for some reason nobody decided to check the weather, so it's like snowing and freezing on the mountain. Jacob is the only one there that like can warm her up, so he like crawls into her sleeping bag to warm her up as like because he like runs really hot, so he's like the best option for her. So then he's like literally like cradling her, hugging her in the sleeping bag, like really close to her. Bella falls asleep. Jacob and Edward are having a conversation. They talk about a lot of things, but basically Jacob is still trying to convince everybody of them needing to be together, them being soulmates, that Edward could leave again and then he could still convince her to be with him if Edward wasn't in the picture. Like, he literally is like, "Give me a year, like I can make her want to be with me. She's stubborn, she'll want to be with me." What? Like, Bella has told him so many times how in love with Edward she is. She's told him so many times that she's not gonna leave Edward, that Jacob and her are just friends. There's been like slight romantic feelings, but all of it has also been like friendship vibes between them. Okay. Here's where it gets good. Here's where it gets real juicy and good. Jacob leaves in the morning to go fight in the battle, but he's not far enough away so that he can't hear what Edward and Bella are saying. So then Bella mentions her being engaged. Jacob freaks out, starts like howling and going crazy and stuff. Edward goes and finds him and brings him back so that he can talk to Bella before they have a battle. Bella's basically like sobbing, crying, being like, "I'm so sorry, like I don't know." that shouldn't have been the reaction anyways. That's so dramatic. I don't understand what the big deal is, because Jacob is a weirdo and you're engaged. Jacob is making her feel bad and literally manipulating her into, like, he literally is saying that he's going to kill himself in this battle, that he's going to get himself killed if she doesn't want to be with him. If she doesn't, like, in some way give him any hints that, like, she wants to be with him. He literally says that. Bella starts freaking out about it, obviously, because that's a manipulation tactic, and she obviously still cares about you as a friend, but she just doesn't, like, it makes me so angry. In order for him not to kill himself, he convinces Bella to ask him to kiss her so that Edward wouldn't be mad about it, because Bella had asked him. And for some reason, Bella is into it. She kisses him back. She wants to kiss him. And she discovers that she's in love with him. Obviously. Because after all of this time of you not being into him and it just being purely friendship vibes, apparently it's not, actually. And you are in love with him just because he keeps mentioning it. Just because he keeps insisting that you are in love with him. That I don't understand. Edward is fine with it for some reason. If I was Edward, I would have beat Jacob to a pulp and he would no longer be with us. Jacob, of course, was wounded in the battle. And then 2 pages later, he's fine. Jacob is, like, wounded and in bed, and then Bella comes and, like, visits him because she's his friend, and she's like, hey, at least I didn't threaten to kill myself. Like, as she should say that, because you should call out people that are being weird. You should be calling out this behavior, because that is not acceptable behavior. Then he is like, yeah, I did do that. That's basically all he says. And she's like, yeah, I don't care. I'm not mad about it. I would be. And finally, after all of this stuff, after everything that Jacob has said in this book about, like, her, like, insisting that she's in love with him, insisting that they should be together, insisting that she's going to discover that soon enough, like, not letting her decide for herself, being pushy and obnoxious and someone that I personally would not want to be around, he finally says that he will just be friends with her and that he won't ask for it again at the end of the book after all of this. Bella, for some reason, cries the, like, whole day and is, like, crying in Edward's arms about it because she has to leave Jacob behind and not speak to him again. And I don't understand why she's so upset. Because, personally, you already know. Yeah. This book took me a long time. The second half, I just did not want to read it. I did not want to pick it back up. I just felt like it wasn't well done. I felt like the writing was boring. And the characters don't have any personality. Like, it literally is just to get things to happen that she wants to happen in the book. But, like, I don't care about any of them. I think that they're all boring and lame. And sorry. I guess I've turned back into a Twilight hater. As I said in the beginning, I am not looking forward to reading Breaking Dawn, but I think it'll be, like, an easier read, and I hope that I can get through it quickly and just get it over with. I think that 2.5 stars is too low, but I feel like 3 stars is too high, so I don't know how I'm gonna rate this yet. I think I just am gonna say 3 stars and just leave it there, because it wasn't, like, horrible. I just don't like where the story is going. I didn't like the action scenes in this book. I felt like everything was very forced. The stakes, like, just were boring. I just didn't feel like Bella was even in danger, and I'm tired of her reusing these same ideas over and over again in all the books. I guess it's not, like, identical to what happened last time, but there's always something where, like, somebody's trying to kill Bella and then, like, they save her. And that's what happens. But yeah, that's what I thought. Yeah. I'm not impressed. It's that time again, folks. I started Breaking Dawn, and who is going to tell me that this book is 750 pages? No one? Okay. A weird man just walked by. Let's just say if I wasn't reading this series for this video, I would not be reading this book right now. I very much am not into it. I just am a big DNF person. If I think that I'm not gonna like it, or if it's something that is hard for me to read, or something that I'm not excited to be picking up all the time, like, I just will not continue reading it, because I feel like, what's the point? And I have so many other books that I would like to read more. So anyways, tangent aside, if it wasn't for this, I wouldn't be reading. I am like 200 pages in. Actually, I'm 268 pages into the book. It opens with Bella and Edward's wedding. Highly anticipated event, apparently. Jacob has been missing, so Jacob just shows up out of the blue to the wedding. Of course he does, so I don't understand why they even had him missing in the first place. They just have this whole conversation about, you know, her getting married or whatever, and she says, "I'd never done anything good enough to deserve a friend like Jacob." What kind of friend is he exactly to you? He is a freaking weirdo, and he's obsessed with you. He's not that good of a friend. Jacob freaks out at the wedding because he figures out that Bella and Edward are gonna sleep together on the honeymoon. And he's like, "You're gonna kill her." Like, he just starts freaking out and raging. And then when they leave after the wedding, Jacob is like howling in the distance. Okay. So this is all like within the first 100 pages. This is like, you know, Stephanie Meyer was like, I'm just gonna really get into this. I'm really just gonna give all my fans exactly what they want, like instantly, right away, as soon as this book starts. Bella starts acting strange. She starts acting really hungry and like getting sick and like all of these things. She becomes very pregnant very quickly. There's a monster baby inside of her. Which we all knew. If you've seen the movies, you've all already known that this was gonna happen. I also knew this was gonna happen. But if I was going into this book in 2008 and this was all like, and I loved these characters and they were like so like near and dear to my heart, I would be reading this and I would be like like, this would be the plot twist of the century. Because I feel like the tone is just completely different than the other two books. Like, this is like starting off and it's becoming like a horror book almost. Like, the way that she describes some of these things about this demon baby, I'm like, oh my gosh. Edward and Carlisle are like, hey, this baby is weird. Why don't we just kill it? Pro-choice. But Bella doesn't want to do that, so I guess, you know, but still, like, it's gonna kill you. I don't understand the whole appeal to this. Then it's a bunch of Jacob chapters, and you already know how I feel about Jacob. Like, I'm like forcing myself to read this because I don't care about Jacob. I don't care, and I don't want to hear from his perspective. Starts off strong with Claire, which is Quill, who Quill has imprinted on, the 2-year-old. Starts off with a scene where like Quill is playing with Claire, and like Claire is clearly acting like a 2-year-old, and they're still having this conversation about imprinting. Quill's not necessarily being weird to her, but I just think it's a weird choice for Stephanie to further the narrative and further like make it clear that Claire is a child and Claire speaks like a baby. Jacob finds out that Bella came back from the honeymoon and she's really sick, so then Jacob thinks that she's being turned into a vampire, so he starts freaking out about it. He runs over there. He finds out that she is like 8-9 months pregnant looking and like really sick and dying, and so he's like also freaking out about that. And then Edward is talking to him, and you can tell that Edward is really, really hurt by this, and he's not in a good place. Edward asks Jacob to try to convince her to let them take the baby, and then Bella can have Jacob's baby if she chooses. course Bella doesn't want to do that because that's weird. I just feel like Bella in this Bella in the series overall is just very much a people pleaser. It makes it so that she just like is apologetic over everything and is always trying to protect the feelings of the men in her life. And frankly, I don't care. Frankly, I don't care about doing that. I don't really care how, obviously if they're important to you or whatever, but like if they're going to freak out about something, if you mention your feelings, then maybe they're not emotionally stable and maybe you shouldn't be with that person. I don't know, crazy idea. Bella's solution to this whole vampire baby thing is to like almost die, and then they'll transform her into a vampire. Okay. So then the wolves find out about Jacob going over there and like seeing this demon baby in Bella. And the wolves are threatened by that and feel like this is like a threat to the people in their town, and like they're wanting to go there and kill Bella and the Cullens because they've essentially allowed this to happen. And then Jacob breaks off from his pack and becomes a leader of his own separate pack, and he is protecting the Cullens and Bella. So he is like, you know, like pacing outside their house and stuff, and a couple of the werewolves come over to Jacob's new pack. And then now the old werewolf pack is talking to Jacob, and they're like, hey, like actually we were being a little bit dramatic and I think we're gonna like not do that right now, and so you should come back and join us. And Jacob is like, I don't think that's possible anymore. That is the summary so far. I'm really trying my best to get through this quicker than the other one. Safe to say I am sort of a Twilight hater and I don't really understand. But I will continue to read. There's a butterfly. Did you see that? It's very cute. I'm gonna continue to read it. I'm not expecting much. But yeah. It's time. I just recorded this and it recorded it in slow-mo mode. So, now I'm mad. So I don't even know what I was talking about. Gotta start from the beginning. Bella has to drink blood because the baby needs blood to survive. Jacob thinks that Bella is flirting with him because she mentioned something about like being glad that he's there, like she smiles at him. He says, quote, she only glanced up when he did, and then she smiled too, with real energy, her whole face lighting up. I couldn't remember the last time she'd looked so excited to see me. What was with her? For crying out loud, she was married. Happily married too. There was no question that she was in love with her vampire past the boundaries of sanity, and hugely pregnant to top it off. Bro, she doesn't want you. She doesn't want you. Maybe she's just happy to see her friend while she's sick. Like, chill out. The baby is very smart, so the baby loves Bella already. And then Edward asks Jacob to break the treaty, give them permission to break the treaty so that they can turn Bella into a vampire and not start a war between the werewolves and the vampires. And Jacob is like, yeah, okay, that's fine. Then it's time. It's time to have the baby. The baby like starts suffering in the womb, and so then it starts like freaking out, and then Bella is like dying and like spurting up blood and stuff, and then the baby breaks her spine, and yeah, they like cut the baby out, and Bella's dying, obviously. Renesmee is the baby. We all know this, okay? I don't even know why I summarized because everybody's read Twilight, but I just, you know, I feel like it's my duty to complete this video and to give you the real, like, summary synopsis, okay? So then Edward gives her his venom straight into her heart. He, like, puts a needle straight into her heart and then bites her all over, and then she is transforming into a vampire. Then he, like, is starting to imprint on Renesmee. Like, he, like, was fully prepared to, like, attack and kill Renesmee at like when she was born, because she killed Bella. She was killing Bella, and so he was fully prepared to kill her. But then he like saw Renesmee and he was like, oh, actually, I can't do that. She's beautiful, and like, this is the thing that's been lacking for my life for so long, or whatever. Even though it's a baby and he's imprinting on her, and I will get into this further as I have before, but it is still bad in this book. Then it's Bella chapters. I think for the rest of the book, thank God I got through those Jacob chapters because I literally hate him. Bella's transforming into a vampire. She's burning from the inside out. Talks about that for way too long. Honestly, the whole vampire Bella thing, it's supposed to be cool. It is cool in some aspects, but also it does make me cringe. And like, thinking about her doing these things, it does make me cringe. And I don't know. I just don't care. Everything is so drawn out. Everything is like way over explained, but not even in like a really detailed and descriptive way. It's just in a like, you're stupid, so I'm gonna tell you what happened. It's just like really not well done. The writing is not good. It's just very young adult writing, which is fine in some aspects, but it feels like she thinks that the reader is stupid, and so she's not willing to leave anything up to interpretation. It feels like she has to like spell out everything for you, and she doesn't have to do that. Bella is special. Renesmee is huge. Renesmee grows really fast, so she is already like a toddler size, even though it's been like a week. And she can she can communicate telepathically, so she'll like touch their face and then like send them like images of like what she wants to talk about or what she wants to communicate with them, even though she can talk, which is also really weird because she's literally like a toddler, so why is she talking? But I understand because she's growing really fast, but also like, Bella freaks out because of the Jacob imprinting thing, and she's like, how could you, my baby? And she's like going to attack him and stuff. Okay, let's get into this. Okay, do you remember how in the last book nobody cared that Quill was imprinting on this literal child? Do you remember when that happened? Because why is this such a big deal now when Jacob is imprinting on this baby? When y'all didn't care when this was happening before. But now you care because it's your child. Like, does that make any sense to anybody else? Like, why is this suddenly a huge deal? It was always a big deal to me. I always thought it was weird. I always thought it was something that should not be in this book. But, you know, now Bella is mad about it when she wasn't mad about it before. But now because it's her kid, she's mad. Seth is also saying that anybody would be mad if it was their kid. So he also thinks that it's weird, but he's also a part of the wolf pack that doesn't think that it's weird for Quill to have this imprint on the child. So I don't understand what the morals of werewolves are, because it seems like they, you know, it just changes based on the situation. She's mad because he nicknamed her daughter Nessie, and so she's like, you nicknamed my daughter after the Loch Ness Monster. Famous line, we all know it. Kind of stupid. Bella also makes a comment about how she doesn't want Jacob to be with anybody else, but now she's realizing that Jacob's going to be with her daughter. So she's like, literally before I've said something like, whoever he's with, like, she wouldn't be good enough for him. Weird comment, because why? Like, you want him to be with somebody else. You're married. So why are you still thinking that way? Jacob is just weird the whole time since Bella's woken up, because he's scared that she's gonna hurt Renesmee, but also she's literally her mother, and Jacob's just being weird and overprotective and needs to back off. Also, Renesmee sends her a, like, you know, like the like little future thing that she does, or like the memory thing that she does when she like touches her face or whatever. She sends Bella a message about like what was happening when Bella was attacking Jacob over this imprinting thing, and Bella makes a comment about Renesmee not wanting Jacob to get hurt and that he was hers, which is weird because it's a literal baby. It's a baby, and you were just freaking out about it. You were just freaking out. Bella makes a comment, and she says, I would have sworn there was nothing more beautiful than Edward and his khakis and pale beige pullover. I don't know about you, but that sounds like the least interesting outfit that I've ever heard. Jacob, once again, is pushing Bella's boundaries and doing things that she doesn't want him to do, so he goes and seeks out Charlie when Bella's not ready to have this conversation with him about her being a vampire. And, you know, like, he is freaking out at first, but then he just is like, oh, well, like, it's a need-to-know basis. Like, I'm just gonna not worry about things that are outside of my control. And then he's, like, completely fine with it, and then he stays and watches a football game. Even though your daughter's been sick, like, really, really sick for, like, a while, and you haven't seen her for a while. And now she shows up, and she's this weird vampire, and she has this kid, and then everything's just fine. Like, oh, okay, yeah, that makes complete sense, complete total sense. Jacob also apologizes for bringing Charlie into it, but also he always apologizes, and he continues to do things that Bella doesn't want him to do, and he knows that Bella wouldn't like, so, like, his apologies don't mean anything because he doesn't change his behavior ever. I didn't realize this, but apparently vampires don't take bathroom breaks. Vampires just don't use the bathroom. I had not realized this, and I'm surprised it didn't come up sooner. There's this weird scene between Bella and Emmett that went on for too long also, as it always does. Like, literally, Stephanie could have just been like, because Edward brought up that he had made a bet with Bella about, like, when she's a new vampire, like, arm wrestling with Emmett and being able to beat him. Okay? He made a bet with her. You could have just been, like, making the reference to that and then, like, skipped ahead, and then everything would have been fine. You didn't have to show us the whole scene of her beating him and arm wrestling. Like, I don't care. I don't care, and I, like, completely understand that she's going to beat him. Like, you've already told me that, so why do you have to show me? This one vampire arena, I think, sees them in the forest, sees Renesmee, thinks that she's one of those, like, vampire children that they are, like, they want to exterminate. They don't want them there. So the Volturi are told about it. The Volturi are coming for them, and they're going to kill them all because they have this vampire child. This vampire child, even though she's not a vampire child, she's a half-human child, but they didn't see that. Yeah, I mean, that's basically it so far. I did say the last little note that I have here is that I don't like that Renesmee can talk, and I completely agree with that still. I don't like that she can talk. It makes me uncomfortable. So now I have, like, 200 pages. Actually, no, that's a lie. It's like 150 pages. Hopefully I can get it done tonight, and I won't have to read any more of these freaking books. I'm exhausted. I'm tired, and I'm ready to finish it. It's finally time. I finished Breaking Dawn. I just want to give a couple of my thoughts and tell you what I thought about the ending and then just overall the series. So this was an experience for sure. Reading this whole series, I really feel like, while I do understand why people like it, it just is not and was not for me currently. As an adult, I feel like I would have eaten it up as a teenager, but unfortunately, I have read a lot of books, and I am past this whole vampire romance situation type deal. I did like the ending of this book. I liked the battle and everything that happened there. I thought that the plot twists were plot twisting, and I was surprised by several parts of it. Honestly, I think that was probably one of the strongest parts of this book was the ending, which is sad because it took me 80%. It took me 600 pages to get there. So, you know, there's that. I just really think that the series overall could use more romance. If you're going to market your book as a vampire romance love story, like the biggest love that there ever has been for centuries and whatever, then there needs to be convincing romance storylines and not just, I love you, I just love you so much, like you're just my whole world, every single page. It doesn't need to be like that. You need to be showing your reader why they love each other, how much they love each other. Like, it shouldn't just be them talking about it and trying to convince you of that, because it didn't work for me. I liked the first book the best because it felt like there really was this relationship building between Bella and Edward. But obviously, didn't like Jacob. We already know. I'm not going to rehab that conversation. Honestly, some of my favorite characters are toxic male characters. I love Ronan from the Raven Boys. I can get behind that trope in books in general. I can get behind it sometimes, but there has to be some redeeming quality about this character. There has to be some motivation for the reason that they're acting that way. Like, it has to be something. They have to be charming, or they have to be like funny or comedic relief, or just like something. Jacob was just bad. Terrible character, didn't ever learn his lesson, never actually had any character development. That's another thing with these books, is that I really didn't feel like any of these characters were changing in any way. They just literally were the same, and they all were very flat characters. I didn't see like a personality behind any of them. It really just felt like they were all the same person. Here are my ratings for all the books. So those are my ratings. That's what I thought. Thank you for coming along with me on this journey. I hope that it wasn't too horrible for all you Twilight lovers to hear me rant about these books. And I'm sorry if I hurt any feelings. I hope that this is enjoyable. It was enjoyable to watch. It's my first video, so I don't know. I'm trying to figure out what I want to say and how I want to say it, and I'm still getting used to being in front of a camera, so I'm working on it. Anyways, I hope that you will stick around, and please let me know if you have any comments or concerns down there in the comment section. And yeah, thank you for joining me. Thank you for watching. Please let me know if you also hate Jacob. Thanks. Bye.